In today's example, I will show you how to set up OSPF on a Fortigate firewall. So obviously this will just be a basic OSPF setup and configuration on a Fortigate firewall. So the OSPF will be configured between this Fortigate FGT1 firewall and a Juniper, let's call it an enterprise core switch, right? So we'll have OSPF running between this. Then we will have a test PC, which will have a directly connected route. The gateway will exist on the enterprise switch as well. And then we'll be using IRB interfaces. So we won't be using rooted interfaces, on this, let's call it port 0, won't be a rooted interface. So we'll use IRB interfaces for the layer 3 portion of this lab. So quickly looking at the lab, we have a Fortigate firewall with internet access and an inside LAN interface towards the core switch, and then we have a client PC that plugs into the switching environment, which is going to be layer 3 basically. So we'll do all this routing using OSPF between the Fortigate and the switch, and then directly connected route with a default route on the PC to the switch. Okay, so we'll try and get end-to-end communication between this PC and the internet working through this network. All right. So first of all, let's start with the configuration on the switch. Once we are done there, then we'll move to the config on the Fortigate. So here I have a Juniper switch or virtual QFX. Let's configure this first. Go into configure, edit VLANs. So let's use VLAN 10 for the PC side. Okay. Set VLAN 10, VLAN ID 10, and we want to use a layer 3 interface. So the layer 3 interface is basically just SVI or RVI or RB. So many names for these interfaces, but it's basically just a software interface in the VLAN that can do routing. We call it RB.10. All right, let's just do a show. All right, so we have VLAN 10 towards the PC1, so let's configure VLAN 100. So VLAN 100 will be used for that point-to-point /30, where we will run the OSPF adjacencies across. So let's configure that while we're in this VLAN stanza. So let's go set VLAN 100, VLAN ID 100, layer 3 interface IRB.100. Okay, let's do a show. All right, so now we've got our LAN facing VLAN 10, and then we have our point-to-point VLAN 100. Okay, so let's go to interfaces. Top edit interfaces IRP. Set unit 10 family INET address. Let's make this 192.168.100.1/24. And then set unit 100 family INET address. So if we look according to this diagram, we want to use 0.2 on the switch end. So let's configure that IP 192.168.0.2/30. So let's just do a show. All right, so now I've got my rooted interfaces. We'll be using unit 10. This will be the gateway for the test PC, and this will be the /30 routable for on VLAN 100 towards the firewall. Okay. So the next thing that we then have to configure is let's configure OSPF. Top edit protocols OSPF. So we're going to be using area 0 for this example. Set area 0. Interface IRB.100. So we'll be using RB100 for OSPF adjacencies. Let's do a show. Then let's set the router ID as well. Set routing options. Router ID. Let's just give it an ID of that. Go top. And now we have to go and tag that interface port 0xe000. We must tag this interface for VLAN 100. Okay. Set unit 0 family Ethernet switching interface mode. Now let's make it a trunk. So the reason why I'm going to make it a trunk is if there's maybe a requirement where you want to use other VLANs, obviously on that uplink towards the FortiGate, then you can do so. So for now, we'll just use it, we'll keep it a trunk. And we say VLAN members, VLAN 100. All right, and then we should do the same for port 1. Let's go up, edit XE001. Let's just do a show. Let's delete that. Yes, set unit 0 family Ethernet switching interface mode. So we want to have access port towards the PC. VLAN members VLAN 10. Let's commit and quit that. Good. Show Ethernet switching interface XE0000. So as you can see, we have VLAN 100, tag of 100, and it's tagged. And we have on interface 1 VLAN 10 as tag, and it's untagged. Okay. So if we now go to our PC, we should be able to ping our gateway. Our PC is currently configured with 100.10, so I should be able to ping 101. So let's see if I can do that. All right, so as you can see, I can ping my gateway, so that's good. So let's just minimize that. All right, so let's see if we can get OSPF working. So I've already configured OSPF on the Juniper switch. All right, so very basic configuration is area 0 and interfaces can participate in OSPF. So let's do this. I think if we do a Wireshark capture, we go to interface 0. Yeah. Let's go to that interface quickly. Let's see if there's anything happening on this interface already. All right, so as you can see, we are already sending out hello packets, that's the source 0.2. So we're already sending hello packets, using multicast on that link. All right, so that's good. So we know that we are, we're kind of already, advertising. All right, so let's close this. Now let's go to the FortiGate. All right, so when you log into your FortiGate, so as you can see here, currently there's just very basic configuration, and I've configured on here, just an IP address so I can get to the GUI. As you can see, the rest of the interfaces, there's no config yet. All right, so if we go to under network, you'll see there's only static routes. So you need to go and activate advanced routing if it's not done already. So you can just go to system, feature visibility, advanced routing, say apply. Now, if you go back to your network, you'll see you have more options available. So click on OSPF. Okay, so you can see there we have OSPF. First of all, let's just do the basic configuration. So what we want to do is we need to set up that that point-to-point. So let's start with that. So in this exercise, if we go back to the lab, so as you can see, we're using port 2 towards the switching environment. Let's configure port 2. As I said, we'll be using VLAN interfaces. So in this example, let's configure a VLAN interface. It's going to call it LAN. And the VLAN that we use, VLAN 100. 192.168.0.1/30. We can enable ping. So okay. All right, so now we have a LAN facing interface towards the switching environment with 0.1. So we go to the switch and we do a ping 192.168.0.1. As you can see, we can at least now ping the Fortigate Firewall. Yeah. So now we can go and configure OSPF. So let's see if we can get OSPF operational. So now if you go to network, you go to you select on OSPF, and let's now start configuring OSPF. So we'll set a router ID of 1.1.1. The area that we want to configure in this exercise would be just area 0, no authentication. Then we'll come back to networks now. So let's go and configure our interface that's going to basically form neighborships. So let's click on create, and we can just call it LAN DR And then we select our LAN, that VLAN interface. Do hello 10, date 40. Okay. Let's apply this. So let's just see what's currently configured on here. So as you can see, that's just standard at the moment. Let's see what's happening on our switch at the moment. So we do a show OSPF neighbor. So as you can see, there's no neighborship. Let's perhaps see what happens if we do a packet capture let's go on port 2. All right, so as you can see, we're still only receiving the the hellos from the switch side. So let's close that and we go back to the FortiGate. All right, so what we want to do is we want to add that connected network. Okay. So what I mean by that is this part. We need to put that in OSPF as well as part of the configuration. Okay, so as you can see, after I put that that network part, this network, in OSPF on the FortiGate, the adjacencies came up. All right. So if we do a show OSPF, show root protocol OSPF. So as you can see, currently I'm not receiving any routes from upstream from the FortiGate, but at least the OSPF is up and running, so that's good. All right, so let's go back to the FortiGate and let's advertise a route to to the switch. So we want to go to static and let's create a route towards Google's 8.8.8/32. This gateway would be 10.0.1. So okay. Before I activate anything, so let's just see if anything has happened so far. So apart from the OSPF, that should still be up. No routes at the moment. Okay. Let's go and we say we want to activate static routes. Apply. All right, so now we have a static route. So if we do a ping towards 8.8.8. All right, so even though we see the route there, which we know do exist, we can't ping. So that's probably going to be due to security policies. So let's add some security policies. Let me just get that right. To internet. And so obviously the inside facing OSPF interface where the traffic will come from, and go back towards 2. Port 1 in this case is our WAN facing interface. So let's just say we want to do all, and we want to do all services, and we want to enable NAT. Yeah, so let's click on that. And if we now go back to, so as you can see, the pings are going through now. But the reason why the pings are working, because remember that currently this switch is pinging from its point-to-point IP, the 0.2, which is directly connected to the FortiGate, so the FortiGate knows how to route to it. Obviously, if we initiate the same ping from the test PC now, it's going to fail, because it's one hop further, and at the moment the FortiGate doesn't have that route information. So what we want to do is add that route information in OSPF, and then re-advertise it back to the FortiGate, and then we have full end-to-end routability. So just to test this theory, let's do the same test on the PC. Right, so as you can see, the ping is failing there. Yeah. So what we need to do is, what we're going to do on the switch is we're going to go into configure, edit protocols, OSPF, and we're going to say set interface, edit area 0 to a show, set interface IRB.10, and we're just going to add it as passive, commit and quit. Let's see if this maybe already gives us. All right, so as you can see, now I can actually route all the way to the Google DNS. Let's quickly just run a command on the FortiGate to see what's in the routing table on the FortiGate. And then that command is get router info routing table all. As you can see, we have this static which we configured, yes. Then we have the connected routes, yes. And here's the OSPF learned route 192.168.100. Yeah, and as you can see now, we've got full routability between the network through Fortigate Firewall. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hope to see you in the next one.